Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Laura and I like to make stuff. What we're looking at here is an unfinished sweater that's been sitting in the back of my closet that we're gonna finish. So let's get started. The majority of this video is just me showing you clips of me knitting. Um, I got this yarn a while ago at Joann's. So it's acrylic yarn, but it is incredibly soft. And so I knew when I saw it, and there was like a sale, it was like buy two, get one free or something like that. So like I picked up three different colors and several skeins of each so that I could make some sweaters. And this was the first one that I started. And I'm making a little cardigan. I, of course, will include the pattern down below. What I am trying to do, in general, well, what I'm working on, like what you see me working on is knitting a sleeve, but I've been trying to use up the supplies that I have in an effort to spend less money. Has that been working out for me? Somewhat. Like, I haven't been impulse shopping for sure, but, or at least not on craft supplies. Maybe on books, but you know. Books are fun too. Most of them are graphic novels, and I will probably be selling them eventually anyway, so I don't consider that much of a loss. Anyway, here I am knitting. So, yeah. I have been reading, and I finished some books between this project and the last one. The one that I really want to talk about, though, is going to be filled with spoilers. So if you want to skip ahead, if you don't want to know the ending of this book, hopefully I will have remembered to put timestamps in the description. Anyway, the book is called Outlawed by Anna North, and I picked it up while I was at Target a while ago, like maybe a year ago. It was a splurge buy. The cover looked cool. The premise sounded interesting. It's a historical fiction in the late 1800s. And it's funny because I normally would like books like that. I've liked books like that in the past. However, they had to reference it regularly, and I wonder if it was added in because I, as a reader, forgot the time period regularly. Like, it felt more like a futuristic, apocalyptic kind of thing rather than old Wild West. There were a lot of like, I don't know if it was the way that the like problems and certain issues, so like social issues that are being witnessed are described, is being described in like kind of a modern way, and it didn't feel cohesive. I hated the main character. She was awful, whiny and annoying, and like pretty much the reason why the vast majority of the problems arise is because of her stupidity, but I don't know, she's not redeemable for me, that's for sure. So basically, the main character is a woman who is barren. She can't have children, so she goes to a nunnery, and then they kick her out because she's asking too many questions trying to fix her barrenness. By the end of the story, it doesn't make any sense why she's trying still so hard and clinging to that to fix it, because it's Like, she has no problem, like, I don't know, it was strange. She didn't seem to have much of a problem, like, being forward thinking in certain aspects that you would think would be harder to break than something that was, like, affecting her specifically. So, like, there's part of the book where the main character is talking about how she doesn't see a problem with interracial marriage, blah, blah, blah. And, it's just strange because she still holds to, like, fixing barrenness and trying, I don't know if she's trying to get back with her husband. Like, that was her goal of, like, fixing her barrenness, kind of. Like, she wanted to be fixed and wanted to know answers, but, like, there were so many, I just don't understand why the author chose to tell this story. What was the point? Because, there are a lot of other characters. Like, if the point was the outlaws, like, the main character winds up joining a gang of outlaws. So if that was, like, the thing, then have that the main character then come to terms with her barrenness in a different way. And in the end, I mean, she kind of does, but so spoiler alert here, right here, she winds up becoming the doctor to experiment to figure out barrenness. But it was just like a last minute throw in that, like, oh, she's the one who's going to start doing this now, because she was the doctor in the story. But like, after everything that had happened, it would you would think that she would have moved on from, quote unquote, fixing barrenness. I don't know. It was not a good book. I didn't like the majority of the characters. There were things that were added like, things that happened to characters that didn't really, like, I think they were supposed to be like, oh, us seeing who the person was, but it was just not done well. Maybe if she had, like, taken more time with the story, because it was also, like, a short, and I don't know if there was, like, a limit to how many pages she was given, and so she had to, like, do some major chops, but it feels like it was rushed through. It was not a thorough, fleshed out story in some aspects. I don't know. I didn't like it. I would not recommend it. I'm sure there are better reviews that are more articulate and have, like, actual, like, sections that they could talk about as to why it sucks. And I'm not gonna take my time to do that, because I had to really push myself to make it through the last bit of the like, the final chapters, because it was just so preposterous and, like, cringe. Like, the doctor was not a redeeming character at all. I did not like her at all. So don't read it. Outlawed by Anna North. Don't read it. It's not worth the time or energy. That being said, I did read other books. One of them being Bolero by Wyatt Kennedy. It is a graphic novel that is about a woman who, like, a young woman, like 20s, who breaks up with her longtime girlfriend and is, like, rather, she gets broken up with and is not handling the breakup well. And so she's, like, over drinking and kind of she's being messy, basically, and sleeping with people. And she sleeps with a dude instead of helping out another friend. And so she's in hot water there. And the dude gives her a key and opens up a door. Well, he doesn't give her a key. He opens up a door to basically a multiverse time life jumping agency where you get a key for all of your lives, and you you can jump in to another you's life, and then that you is moved to a different life. So, like, there's infinite whatever, but you can only jump a maximum of like 53 times, and then you die or something like that. So, of course, this messy person is jumping through all of her different lives, and so various stories happen with this character and the alternate versions of her friends and her lovers. And the ultimate goal for her is to get back with her girlfriend, love of her life. And it's really good. The artwork was beautiful. The character development was so well done. The ending was satisfying, which, like, sometimes with stories like those, it's like, okay, how are you going to be able to wrap this up to be like, okay, I'm satiated with this story? And he managed it. Wyatt managed it. It had a satisfactory ending, which was really nice. Of course, it's sad, because, it's about relationships, but, just to stop and pause, what we're looking at right now is me adding a pocket. So I had picked up stitches from the cardigan to start the pocket. This is kind of how I add patches for darning socks, but this is my lazy way of adding pockets where I don't have to sew, because I was being lazy. Anyway, I would recommend Bolero, and I will link the title down below if you want to read it. It was good. It was really good. Watching me do this and remembering adding the pockets, about halfway through this process, I realized I should have just made some squares and sewn them on, because that probably would have been less work than adding pockets in this manner. However, in a way, I kind of feel like the pockets are sturdier because they're enmeshed in with the cardigan. So they might stretch, but they're not gonna give out entirely, which I've had happen. I've added pockets to sweaters like that in the past, and it just does not work right because it's knit, so the way that the fabric is, there's give automatically, not just including the materials. Like, the knit itself will give. So, if you are doing this pattern, which I have gotten this far and I haven't even mentioned the pattern that I'm doing. I think it's a Savory Felix cardigan. It was a good pattern. I am overall happy with the way that it turned out and how easy it was to do. I will link the pattern down below. But it did not include pockets for the pattern, and I knew that if I was going to regularly wear this sweater, I would want pockets. So I added pockets. But, yeah, I would not do it this way again, I don't think. Well, maybe. Because, like I said, it does feel sturdy. So, It's been a while since I've done a knitting project that was not socks. Like, completed a knitting project that was not socks. And, honestly, I kind of, enjoyed myself. Socks are my go-to easy project, and I may film myself doing another pair at some point. But, mainly because they're the items that I wear the most. I am getting ready here to weave in the ends. I've made my fair share of shawls and hats and gloves, but I don't really wear them that regularly. But socks, come winter time, come fall, I wear day in, day out. So, and then I get pretty yarn and I only need one skein of it, and I have a complete wearable project, and it's nice. But it was also really nice to make a sweater and finishing it like completely right here and now. I usually wait to weave in the ends until much later. Like I have a pile of socks that need to have their ends woven in, and yeah, it's maybe it's keeping my dopamine away from me. Maybe I should go do that and get that dopamine, because having this completely finished at the end of this was so nice. Like, it was a drag to do. No one likes weaving in the ends, but very satisfying. Um, I do sometimes have issues where I either don't weave it in properly or I cut it and then I realize that it's like not going to work. Um, like you're seeing in this, I cut it too short. It wasn't really woven in properly. So I am tying it down just so that it doesn't like pop out in the front. I mean, it happens. I don't consider myself like a professional, and also this is just for me. So like you'll know and I'll know. But will anybody else know? And if they do I want someone in my life who's going to judge me about how I've woven in my ends? And if all of them are fully woven in? No. I don't need that kind of negativity in my life. That being said, because of the camera, I actually probably did a better job than I would have had there not been a camera. So, thanks, guys. Sometimes I just need eyes on me to make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I had a bag, like I showed the little bag of buttons that were all the same size, and then I have this lot that I had gotten off of eBay, and I really like mismatched buttons, and I like using the leftovers. I like, the vast majority of the buttons in that bag are medium sized and one-offs, so they need a life too. Trying to reuse, right? That's part of the recycling aspect. Anyway, I pull out these buttons for my sweater so that they are mismatched, but I think the end effect is actually super adorable. And also, how could you resist using some of those flower buttons? And then here I am sewing them on. I'm just using regular sewing thread because I find it sturdier. It's easier to go through the holes of the buttons because they are not yarn-sized holes. And then I've never had a problem with them coming out, or like even having a problem with like sewing it through the knitted fabric, other than trying to find the hole. That's what Andrew Tate said. Anyway, yeah, here I am sewing up these buttons. I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, I did try to get the thread through the like actual yarn strands to help like stabilize it. And then because I hadn't blocked at this point, and I'm not a blocker. I don't like blocking projects. I just kept all of them buttoned. So once I had sewn on a button, I made sure it stayed buttoned, so that I could make sure that all of the buttons were sewn on evenly and that the lineup, once fully buttoned, looked good. And that I learned from user error, trying and failing as a child to sew things like this. So that's how I recommend doing buttons. Maybe you have a different process. It was definitely awkward to film adding on the buttons. Overall, I feel like this project was um, a pretty easy one. I would recommend this sweater if you've never made a sweater before, if you're like newer to knitting. I think it does a really good job. It would definitely be a challenge if you've never knit before, so I would not recommend it if you've never ever knit before. But if you are looking, if you're over scarves and you're ready to move on, let's try this pattern. I really enjoyed it. The final footage of me wearing the sweater is super fuzzy because it was out of focus. And I didn't realize until I took the sweater off. And I was not about to put it back on because it is still hot here. So this is all you get of me actually wearing the sweater. I really like it. I have a feeling I'm going to wear it a lot this fall. So yeah. Yay, another finished project from my unfinished projects. Thanks for watching, and subscribe if you want more projects and book stuff or something. You don't have to, though. You don't have to. All right. I will let you guys go. Have a good one. Bye.